then we've also had experiences with a multitude of clients, and one that stands out is extreme anxiety issues, I guess mental issues, and why don't you describe that one?
And also accompanied by extreme physical instability, but very, very complex situation. And especially the relationship between anxiety and the physical and medical issues and everything. So I was called in, and I talked with the out-of-town daughter, met the person, but I was really most concerned about looking at how the caregivers were addressing things. So we had a team meeting, and I had this huge list. I was so excited because I had this list because anxiety and mental health issues are one of the things that I'm very proud of having some creative approaches to. And we talked about energy work, relaxation, meditation, and all the resources that are available, and feeling like caregivers need some resources, which your nurses provide, your staff provides, but in addition, they need some
help.
Concrete things.
Yeah.
So we had this team meeting, and one of the caregivers is saying, "Oh yeah, I use my iPad, and I find some of the free." I was talking about some of the free things available for relaxation, and she says, "Oh yes, I use my iPad, and I bring it in, and they all go to and they say, oh yes, we go to the library and we find this and we find that." And in this situation, a lot of it was a matter of reinforcing with the lady herself, that she often was like, or the caregiver said, well, yeah, we'll start things. Like, for instance, deep breathing. She said, we'll start them, and then it goes by the wayside, or she resists. And I said, well, let's really incorporate that into the care plan. And we make very specific care plans. And that's one of the really, the things that I value about Home Instead, is that we develop care plans, or we identify, here's the things that work. This is a challenging situation, and we need to support the caregivers, the family, as well as the person themselves. And here's the things that work. Let's get them written down, and then let's document that this is what the caregivers are going to do, and support the caregivers, because a lot of these things kind of get left by the wayside. That, okay, well, so what?
We tried it for a day, yeah.
Right. Well, right. We tried it for a day. It doesn't work now, and that's especially true with people who have some cognitive impairment. You try it. Well, yeah, it does work one day. The next day it doesn't. But that doesn't mean you throw out the baby with the bathwater. You keep trying, or you identify that, yes, it works sometimes, so you try it sometimes. And your caregivers are really, really excellent with having that flexibility and taking initiative. And I have a lot of confidence that, if we come up with a care plan, it's going to be implemented.
Yes, we feel that's critical too.
Yeah.
We also have, we were talking about different situations that stand out, and in addition to that one with the anxiety and some of the mental issues and the physical issues, we have another one where I think the great point about it is how well you and the team work together to be what I consider clever about a solution. And this client had extreme, or has extreme dementia. His son is in the medical profession, and everybody was aware of what's going on. Why don't you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, and actually this was one that I started out 3 years ago, a little bit more than 3 years ago, and then at that point the man was relatively high functioning, had no help in the house other than his son, who, again, another burnt out caregiver family member, close to burnout, not really yet, but and my goal was to look at the whole situation. But then the man did have a medical issue, and actually a fall, and preventing falls is a huge thing that I focus on, and I really value Home Instead for their ability to work with that. But at any rate, he was at a nursing home, and then we needed a plan to bring him home, so we brought in Home Instead, and that was shortly after I had started working with the situation. And he was still pretty good at that time, but he'd get some things confused. And one of my goals had been to get him participating in aquatherapy. It was a great intervention for him for physical functioning, mental functioning, social functioning, and he had been going.
Well, and let me interrupt, Carol, because he's at a great facility in
Right.
Beechwood
Yes.
that has those services available.
Right.
So they've
He
been
was
able to, right.
Right, and there was transportation, but I was visiting him one day and he starts talking about not going over there because he's incontinent. And I'm thinking, wait a minute, I don't really think he is. And he'd get things mixed up, so he was going to stop going. And I thought, wait a minute, I don't think this is accurate. So we had a meeting, and I talked to Karen, the nurse, and Karen and I were saying, you know, wait, I don't really think this is totally accurate. And even if it is accurate, we have ways of helping him maintain continence. We're not just going to let him be wet or whatever,
Right.
and that interferes with swimming, because we both agreed that was a major goal. So we met with him, met with the caregivers, and identified that, yeah, the caregivers felt there was, that they could do some behavior oversight and work with him, and that, yeah, he maintained continence for at least several hours at a time, and we could work with that situation. So we worked with it. We got him back to the swimming therapy, and that lasted another 6 months to a year. It doesn't last anymore, but we got another 6 months to a year of his aquatherapy, because we had a team meeting and because I had a good group of caregivers to work with. I could not have done that if we didn't have caregivers who were really going to be following through with the care plans that we established.